coming to you from the frigid confines of the Northwest. And we aren't just talking about our politics. It's the QueerCentric with your host, Queerly Johnny.
Hello to our amazing audience, always tuning into the QueerCentric. I'm so glad you're here. Yet again, we have another show. And I want to say really quick, people have been noticing that there's video now, because we really didn't do an announcement. We just have video.
Just did it.
Yeah. And so it's been really nice, except that I had 3 emails this week saying, so we listened to the podcast. They're not ready to see faces. So, are you afraid I'm going to
We do have faces
you?
for radio, to be fair.
Well, I mean,
Speak for yourself, good sir.
I love it. Well, I'm excited for people to see both you both. This you're on the Third Timers Club.
Yeah.
Sir.
Three-peat.
Yeah. Corey's here. Corey Fortune is here. Corey, what do you do?
Oh my gosh, Jonathan, I'm so glad you asked. So I'm actually a mortgage broker, which I have stopped saying. I haven't said that a single time yet. And
No, not once.
I work for a queer managed mortgage brokerage, and that's because I'm the manager and I'm queer.
It helps. I mean, when that's it.
That
But
checks
I
out.
also
Yeah.
I'm the in-house lender for a queer-owned real estate company. So we're just helping the community everywhere we can.
And I think that's amazing. And I always believe in, pick your team. And I have to say this. I have to admit, I've known Corey for a while, and I never once knew he was a lender.
You learned that 2 minutes ago?
No, I learned it 2 weeks ago.
But
2 weeks
Hunter,
ago.
who owns the company that I work with, the queer-owned real estate company.
Yeah. And Hunter, he's been on this show as well. Yeah, so I think it's funny how I'm so oblivious to most things.
Because
And so
Hunter sent me a referral for you.
Yes.
I messaged Jonathan, and I was like, are you looking for a house? How can I help you? Oh, I don't know yet. And
Yeah.
I'm like, no, Hunter literally just sent
Yeah.
me this. Oh!
And can I tell you, the
Okay.
first thought in my head was, how does he know that I'm looking for? It's in the queer
It's a seventh
wires
sense.
out there. It is. It's the queer sense. Is what it is.
Just because there's federal regulations, I think I had to say NMLS number 1485023.
Oh, there it is. In case
I mean,
you
I
do.
didn't actually say interest rates, but
Yeah,
it's just
I know.
like-
Oh, yeah.
That way I can say that I'm
Don't
up
get
to
me
date.
started.
Licensed in Oregon, Washington, Oregon, California. And carry
Did
on.
we mention Corey Fortune? I love it. And actually, what's funny, speaking of Hunter, the connection here is Ian. Last time you were on with Hunter.
I was, yeah.
So now, again, you did it last time, like a really good saying who you are. But say who you are and what you do, because it's an important job.
Thank you. So my name is Ian Sullivan. I use he, him pronouns. And I work in nonprofits, specifically a queer nonprofit for working with youth here in town. I'm going to avoid specifics because then I can talk as Ian the Citizen.
Yeah.
But you can Google it and you'll find us.
I love Ian the Citizen.
We want you as Ian the Citizen. Also, for Halloween next year, could you just dress up as Ian the Citizen?
It's going to look a lot like this. So.
I mean, that's how you do. You know what I learned this year? So I won our costume contest at work, and I'm convinced it's only because I come with a story. Like, I had on this whole thing, and then I sent in and I said, this is who this is, named the person, gave him a backstory, and I won. And I'm like, there were people here who looked way better than I did. But if you can pizzazz it with a story.
Little razzle dazzle never hurt anybody.
Exactly.
I love it.
Chicago's the best musical ever. Speaking of razzle dazzle. Anyways, welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you for having me back.
I am glad you both are here. Thank you. I am going to. I did this. Did I do this last week? I'm just going to ask. Voted.
Voted.
I figured because most people who would even come on the show are probably going to vote.
You know what I got this year? Well, I didn't, but my husband did. A thing in the mail that said, hey, we haven't received a ballot as of this date. Like, President Biden would be proud to know that you did vote because I mailed him in late. Well, not late, but like...
Right. Yeah.
But a mailer came saying, hey, you haven't had a vote recorded as of... And it was like 2 weeks after I actually sent it in.
Yeah.
So they were way pre-printed. But it was like, as of October
Still,
something, we haven't received your ballot. And I'm like,
They're
okay.
prepared. They were prepared.
Get
That's
out the vote
cool.
efforts.
Well, yes, thank you. Well, there was a lot of people going around saying that, and I don't think most of them were doing it in a malicious fashion, but they were saying, well, you can't vote in person in Spokane County. And I was like, I don't think that's true.
You can.
Because I had a friend who was like panicking because he had moved and apparently didn't give the address or whatever. And so he was panicking. I'm like, you just hold on. And of course, there's tons of places you could go depending on where you live. And so I just sent him a list. I'm like, no one gets an excuse. And I'm glad you want to do this here. Go here. But it was like, for you people, no, there was places.
This year I got more spam text messages for voting and different
That
candidates
one
and stuff than
person
anywhere
that
before.
kept doing it.
I actually don't.
Report spam. New
I didn't
message
even.
came back
I didn't even
from a
read the
different
names of
number.
anybody. I didn't read the names of anybody.
Yeah.
I
Let's
just saw.
say it
Are
wasn't,
you ready to vote?
It wasn't Biffany Frowny.
Yeah. I knew it. I knew that's who it was because I got the same thing.
Oh my God! Did you see what I
Frowny.
posted? I replied to the last one on election night.
I love
and I said,
it.
"Boo hoo! lost, get bent. And then it
Exactly.
replied back, you have been unsubscribed.
Yeah.
But it's after the
I was so
results came
thrilled.
out that
And can
they
I tell
lost.
you this? So we all know, I've said it a million times, I work at a very conservative, with a lot of conservative coworkers. I get along with them, but we don't agree on these things. But I thought it was so funny and very telling that two comments that struck me. One was complaining about, Patty Murray. I can't believe she's still there. But not one complaint about Kathy McMorris Rogers. And I'm like, if you're going to complain about this one still in there
At
without
least Patty
term
Murray
limits?
lives in Washington.
I know. And I was like, let's not. And then the other one was someone came out after the whole attack on Nancy Pelosi's husband. Someone at work came in and said, isn't it convenient that happened before the election? I'm like, no one is planning to be hit in the head with a hammer.
Like when
Like,
Gretchen
fuck
was almost
you.
kidnapped from the... Come on now.
Yeah, it pissed me off so bad, but I just have to smile.
Did you see the Donald Trump Jr. tweet thing on that?
Yes.
The Halloween costume
with
with
the
a hammer and
underwear and yeah. And I do like the making fun of him.
Yeah.
About
The SNL thing of like, why does it look like you're wearing your dad's old tidy whities?
Yeah, because he probably is.
Someone send that dude a link to Andrew Christian. Like,
Thank
come
you.
on.
But I don't want to imagine him in Andrew Christian.
Oh, I don't either.
I'm
but
like,
everyone
listen,
deserves
and
to wear
it's
good
not
underwear.
because of your body, sir. It's because it's you.
I think it
you
was a
know?
choice. He wanted to get his dad's mojo, right? Is that?
Oh, is that how?
I'm
yeah.
sorry. Do you have a bucket I can throw up in right now?
Who knew? I've been throwing up in my mouth all day with a smile. So gross. I hate it so much. That's typically what I have to put my word. But okay, so most important thing, we wanted to make sure, because we're going to talk about some of the results, some of the things that came up during this, because I think it's important that we participate. I think one of our most listened to shows was when we had City Councilman Zach Sapone on. So I find that interesting. Yeah, sweetheart of a guy. I started getting messages today from people going, he's gay? I'm like, just calm it down. Okay, he's trying to help us, and that you just turn it out now. But yeah, so it's been interesting. People have been very interested in the political shows lately, and I think that's awesome. So we're going to talk a little about that. But before we do, we need a little gratuitous self-promotion. And it's to remind everybody, if you don't know, we launched our own Patreon. And so you can go to that beautiful Patreon at patreon.com/thequeercentric. And there might be a fun commercial later about it. I mean, just listen. That's all I'm saying. Hey, Tom. Patreon. How's it going? Patreon. I am doing great. Patreon.
Wow, are you having like a stroke or something?
What are you talking about? Patreon. That's just my weird eye. Patreon.
Well, no, I'm used to that, but you're skipping like an old CD. Should I knock you on the side of the head?
Oh, okay. Calm down. Patreon. I read this thing on subliminal advertising, and since we are pushing our Patreon, I thought I'd try it out. Patreon.
Well, very subtle. I'm not sure your version of subliminal advertising is quite the method they had in mind. Patreon. Now you have me doing it.
Once you start, it's kind of hard to stop. It's kind of soothing.
And if by soothing you mean nails screeching on a chalkboard, then sure. To be very clear, it's annoying.
Yeah, I picked that up. Thanks.
We could just be straightforward and tell people to visit our Patreon at patreon.com/thequeercentric.
But I was hoping to be cool and stealth-like.
And you were accomplishing neither of those things.
You're always ruining my fun. Fine. We can just tell them that we have different levels of donations and you get cool stuff on each level and even get exclusive things.
Oh, that's the attitude. Your enthusiasm will be really contagious.
Visit us at patreon.com/thequeercentric to support us today. I mean, I swear it's fun, and we will forever be grateful.
There you go.
Patreon.
Come on, are you serious?
Leave me alone. But we do want to remind everybody that there it is if you want to support the continuation of the podcast. We have fun little things we give you. Kurt's busy in a sweatshop making T-shirts and sweatshirts, and... so, let's put him, he's our little elf. Let's put him to work is all I'm saying. Okay. Are we ready, gentlemen?
Yes.
Are we ready for this? Talk about throwing up in our mouths.
Can I not throw up in my mouth 1 second? Because I just have to say a shout out to Zach Sapone again.
Yes.
Because Ian's here, and Ian and I have a long history of political crushes in local offices.
Oh, yeah.
Started with John Snyder, right?
I miss
and then
Snyder.
Andy Billig is like,
Oh, yes.
I swoon over Andy Billig.
Yeah.
And I texted our friend Blaine. And when Zach was running, and I was
Aw.
like, Blaine, Andy has been asserted by Zach Sapone as my new political crush.
And does Blaine know him?
No, I don't think Blaine knows Zach. No, because
I mean, now Blaine's on
had
to
to
bigger
move to
and better
DC to write
things.
policy. Like,
I know.
Way
He
to pursue your dreams.
thinks he's important now.
Well, when
I
he runs
love
for office,
Blaine.
I'm going to be his Olivia Pope. So.
Oh, this is it.
Blaine's gonna need an Olivia.
I
Pope.
can't run for things, but I can sure fix things. So.
See, that's what it is.
But yeah, so Zach.
Yeah, we do love Zach. Zach, we actually had a little conversation about how Zach said one of the surprising things about getting into office is a lot of gay men in politics are very thirsty. So he noticed that right away.
I think he knew how he comes off to people. He's like, yeah, I don't know what it is. Just people kind of have a, when they see me, they kind
You're
of
hot, Zach.
I know the impression
Right.
I
He's
put
the
off.
hot nerd. You know,
Yeah,
Will and Grace, the hot gay nerd.
Yes.
Oh my God, it's
I
a
know.
hot gay nerd.
That is exactly. I love Zach.
He's
Zach's a great
policy
guy.
nerd, and it just like
Yeah, he knows shit.
talk
Like,
policy to me.
I know.
Well, and it's
exactly.
politicians are always charming. They're out there. They're shaking like
Right?
it's like
They have to have some charisma.
exactly. That's the only way they get
Mhm.
elected.
I mean, yeah.
True.
And he's smart because we also talked about that people running for different offices in city council positions across the nation who have no experience.
He ran against a dude
nothing.
that flipped what was a burger restaurant.
Yeah, so
That didn't
so
know policy.
On,
Do you want me or that
yeah.
guy?
on
Flip the
one
burger or flip the
side,
restaurant?
I want everybody to know, see, even you can be involved in politics.
True.
And on the other side, I'm like, thank you for electing someone who actually knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, I agree with you. I love Zach. And I love that the first part of this political discussion was, that guy's hot. And Zach, if you're listening, yes, we all agree. We've all voted you the sexiest politician alive. In
Ooh,
Spokane.
we should get that in Inlander.
That. Oh, we should make some calls. Kurt, write that down. I like that. It should be. I agree. So, one of the things that that now we can start throwing up in our mouths.
Perfect, let's do it.
Okay. Is DeSantis, who, like,
God.
not that we didn't know, but the greatest meme came out afterwards, which was someone sawing off Florida and letting
Is
it
that the
just
Bugs
go.
Bunny one?
That Bugs Bunny one's been around for, what,
And
60,
it's
70 years now?
perfect.
and
Wow,
we keep
Looney
using
Tunes
it.
was.
See,
Looney
they
Tunes
knew it
knew.
60 and 70 years ago. They're like, Florida, let's just, so he won, and he won by a fairly large margin, which tells us what I've always known. Lots of Florida people are crazy.
Yes.
Yeah. He's Trump 2.0. He is the sequel to Trump, and proof that in my own opinion, he's the one that has been causing Trump a lot of headaches because he sees himself as the one that's going to take over as the new Trumpism, Trump ideas, but not being Trump.
He's the new guard for that whole
Yes,
group.
yeah.
I think that's going to be
And
tricky for him.
do you think so? I don't
Yeah.
think Trump's going to take it this
I
next
want to
one.
see the two of them get a slap fight at a debate.
That would be the
You have
best
to think-
moment.
Trump's tiny hands. Little dog
I would
hands,
like to see that. We could charge money.
SNL, do a sketch on that.
Yeah. Listen.
You have to think about, it's basically a cult, and you have to think about how many people are still very excited for Trump and know he's running and know he's going to win
Right.
and know he won.
But the
and
numbers have fallen, though. And I think the hope is that because they've fallen and they don't show coming back up, because look, they thought we were going to have the red wave. We didn't have the red wave. Like they imagined, and part of the pundits are talking about there was a Trump factor in that because he is showing more and more. People are being more like, no, we still want to be shitty, but he was really shitty.
And
You know what I mean?
Trump keeps backing like loser candidates, like people that aren't qualified,
Mm-hmm.
that don't have any
The
push.
majority of the ones why he's pissed right now, that he backed didn't win.
Did you see that quote
They're
that they
racist.
got from him? He said, "If people succeed, I'll take all the credit. If they don't, you can't blame me at all." That's actually what he said.
And
Actually,
listen-
almost
God,
word
do
for
not
word.
talk like that anymore.
I'm pretty good.
yeah,
That was creepy.
That was horrible.
I didn't lean all the way into my impression.
Right,
I
right.
just kind of hinted at it. But
Well, and at the same time, no one's surprised by that quote. You know what I mean? And yet they would
he didn't
still
smile
vote
afterwards.
for him.
He didn't
Yeah.
smile afterwards either. He genuinely meant, "I will take the credit and none of the blame."
That is exactly narcissism to a T right in that moment. But so DeSantis is looking because listen, we've watched in horror as the laws going into Florida against LGBTQ people are absolutely hideous, including before the election, he sent out a mailer that was what I found. I find the subtleties more terrifying than the I'm just going to come right out and say, you guys suck. He put out a mailer. It was against, of course, the stance of his opponent on forgiving student debt. And in it, he has two pictures of a non-binary individual who is obviously non-binary. And then he's saying just little things like, boy, do you want your money to go to, what were the
Gender studies.
things that are basically liberal arts. Do you want it to go? And obviously, this
Yes.
kid is just graduating.
Yes, I do.
I mean, actually, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. But he's trying to do what Trump did, was go to the working class and underwater basket weaving. Why do you say yes? Let me just ask. I know why, but tell the people why you think
I
it's
want
a
those
good
things
thing.
funded.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that I was one of those students, as were most of my peers.
Yeah.
And I think we're also stuck in this, you must be a doctor, a teacher, a lawyer.
Yeah.
And then you realize you get to higher ed and you need all those different disciplines to
Exactly.
do a gajillion different things. If you ask all the lawyers what they studied in undergrad, it's
Yeah.
a huge swath.
Yes, exactly. And statistics show that, let's just say, a lot of good things come when we have a well-rounded education system that includes things like gender studies. I mean, how does society move forward if, let's not think about that stuff?
Well, you also
You know
are,
what I mean?
you're talking to an older generation that pushed the importance of college in general,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so you have all these people that are going to college that okay, I have to go there. The number of times I see a job posting that says bachelor's degree required, doesn't say what the bachelor's degree is. Just it's
Exactly.
required.
Yeah.
So yes, it could be an underwater basket weaving.
Exactly.
As long as there's a stamp on it that says
Yeah.
it's from a college, they don't care. Oh,
Right.
well, I don't want you to study that though.
Yeah.
Oh, so you don't want me to actually learn?
Yeah. Well, now look at what we're doing in politics now is trying to form a new way of what we say education should be, what we say people should be, the what is the approved people. The Republicans are trying to take it back to saying you have to be this, and this because these are the people that are easier for us to control.
Yeah.
For lack of a better word. So he's sending out these very subtle, you know what I mean? Very subtle mailers that are really, we already know that he's anti-LGBT, all of his policies, everything goes towards that. But then these little subtle mailers, which is doing, what do we do? If we have brainwashed a group of people for so long, all you need are the cues to continue the brainwashing.
I compare it to being queer and recognizing rainbows when you see them. I can go into a place and see the tiniest little rainbow sticker, and I'm like, okay, I'm good. But then on the flip side, I also see a red hat from a mile away, and I'm like, oh shit.
Trauma
And
response.
it's one of those things. It's like I mentioned, so I have pronouns on my business card, right?
Yeah.
No one notices it except the ones that appreciate it, right?
Really?
Because most people
Not
look over
even
it.
the mad people.
Well,
huh?
okay, if you notice it and you're mad about it, then I don't want to do business with you anyway.
Exactly.
And that's great.
You were in the wrong
But you know, it's
place.
one of those things that, and it's so that the one side does things for positivity and inclusion, and the other side is just triggering.
Yeah.
A dude with nail polish. I just peeled my nail polish off today.
Do you
'cause
know-
I almost always have nail polish on.
Yeah. Do you know how many heterosexual fathers of children I see with painted nails? Like, let's not try to make this. That's what they do. They try to take little things. But you were mentioning seeing a rainbow, seeing a hat. Sometimes it's subconscious.
I was at
We'll
Walmart
see
one
those
time with
things.
painted nails, and a guy's like, "Nice nail polish, brah." And I said, "Thanks, my daughter did it." And he was like, "Oh my god!" And I was like, "Just kidding, super queer." Yeah,
Exactly.
like suddenly he was so okay because if my daughter did it, it's fine.
Yeah. Well then, and then what if you were a gay dad? My daughter can still do it.
Yeah,
But
pretty much.
people try to nitpick these things. I'm curious about the youth. You work with youth. How do you notice them processing things like this in their world?
Ooh, lots of dark humor, to put it very bluntly, to the point where we have to remind them that not everybody realizes they're joking as they're
Oh,
processing.
These are dark times.
Yeah. So, and lots of memes and meme talk. Which to the point, I'm only 34 and I still have to have them explain shit to me.
It moves very fast.
It
It's hard to keep up with all that.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Spider-Man teaching Captain America phrases?
No.
Because he woke up and they're like, so Steve Rogers is telling someone just gonna throw myself off a building now, or it'll be YOLO, and someone's like, you didn't use that right. And it's this all thing the younger Avengers teaching Captain America.
That is
the slang.
awesome.
It's so cute. Huge tangent though. Now that I'm full of a room of queers, Chris Evans and Sexiest Man Alive.
Sexiest man alive.
please.
That's the best call ever. I love it. And how is
Close.
this?
It was either him or Michael B. Jordan. Because
Oh,
that
well,
whole
yeah,
thing
yeah,
about the
yeah,
girl
yeah.
breaking her retainer.
Oh,
Did you hear that? She her orthodontist tweeted that he had a girl come in because when Michael B. Jordan took his shirt off in Black Panther, she bit down so hard she snapped the retainer. And the girl's like, "Oh my god, this is my orthodontist." Michael B. Jordan tweeted back and was like, "I'll pay for your retainer."
Oh,
She thirsted so hard she snapped her retainer.
that is.
And I'm
I
like,
mean,
that
That's
is-
relatable.
I mean, when
I'm-
you
I'm
see
like,
him without
okay.
his shirt, yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. I had to go dental work too. I mean, just grind those
But
teeth
no.
down.
And
That's why.
that
That's what
chest-
happened.
That chest tattoo Chris Evans has that no one knew about,
Oh.
and then the internet blew up over it.
And I just love how it makes him hotter because he is so like cool, nice to everybody, all of it. So I do have to. First of all, this is my favorite gay conversation ever
Because it's about hot men.
because we'll talk about politics and we're like, wait, did you hear? But I watched him do an interview, a small interview today because of them announcing that he's. And I'm just like, he's just everything. He was asking a guy. He was like, the reporter. Tell me, do you like mustache? No mustache, because he had the full goatee going on. And the guy's like, are you asking me? He goes, I want to know if you like the mustache. And I'm like, baby, ask me. Yeah, thrilled. So
Chris
thank
Evans,
you,
I like
Captain
it all.
America. Or
Anything.
he's not the new Captain America anymore, but
Thanks, Cap.
Cap. Yeah, thanks, Cap. Yeah, love that. So, okay. So
Your children that you work with.
yeah. Yeah. So about those people, do you think that you notice kind of the way politics is filtered and the way the society around you is filtered differently because you are around younger people so much now that you're an old man?
Yeah, because I think there's still a lot of the
Is
youth
that
I
some
work
gray
with.
in your hair,
I have a lot of
love
gray
it.
in here. Trust
I
me.
love it.
Give me a couple of years, I'll be full. I'll Anderson Cooper this shit up. It'll
Love
be great.
it. Love it.
Um, But it's a lot of them are still living at home, even if they're young adults, haven't
Yeah.
gone on their own yet. So whatever voices at the dinner table, on the television, depending
Yep.
who's in charge of the remote, all that's still filtering through them.
Yeah.
And so they're still finding where they're at in terms of their belief systems in a lot of ways. And that's not to like shame them because like, oh, young kids these days, like they can be very strong on their beliefs.
Right.
They just maybe, especially with COVID, haven't been exposed to the
Oh,
events, the
yeah.
communities, the conversations to challenge and learn or hear things that were
I didn't even
different.
think about that aspect, but yeah.
Oh yeah, like like imagine how isolating COVID was for all of us anyway.
Yeah.
And they're not getting like maybe they found a podcast like this if they were searching
Right,
the interwebs,
right.
but they weren't running into this
And
like
they
at the library.
should. I'm just saying they should find this podcast.
I believe that too.
Right now, so a lot of these kids obviously are going to be pre-voting age. So when they come to your organization, I think we automatically, as queer people, anybody in the LGBTQ community, we are just political by association because it just affects our lives whether we want to be a voice or not. It still affects us. Something from that world. Are they politically active? Are they, you know what I mean? I want to know how our youth are. Listen, I don't hang around people younger than Tom. So,
Well, Tom's
I know.
like 14, so
oh,
That's
see?
exactly right,
See?
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't, and honestly, most of the time I don't want to. So I'm okay with that. I love you, young people. I have nieces and nephews. It's fine. But tell me that.
So I think a lot of it is finding their passion and their niche as well, right? So we've got a young adult that I've been working with and getting them connected with PJALS, for example,
Oh,
Peace and
yeah.
Justice Action League of Spokane, whose
Yes.
conference is this weekend, actually.
Oh,
Very
nice.
excited for them. And so finding ways for them to get involved. and
different
connect.
conference.
Oh my gosh.
I know,
Carry
it
on.
just crossed my mind. Go ahead.
But yeah, so getting them connected in with like-minded folks who want to be active and lead those demonstrations, have those awareness events,
Right.
things like that. Or are we getting them involved with the young insert political party here group,
Right.
Things like that. And for that matter, you can pre-register in Washington State at the age of 16 because they're trying to catch people when they're getting their driver's license.
That's smart. Wow, there's a smart policy out there already.
Well, we're also Washington State, so let's talk.
Yeah.
I mean, with the voting and all of that, we don't have all those hurdles that other places
Exactly.
have.
Yep.
Yeah.
I get a ballot in the mail, I drop it
Yes.
off, or I mail it. I mean,
Yeah.
I had to come to the library because then I had the photo of me dropping it in the box.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I know. I will say I do miss the I voted sticker.
You can get them at the elections office because
I
I
need to get
generally
it.
will go get
I just
like
love that.
5 or 10 of them,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then I wear them for like
I used
4
to
days.
do a whole photo shoot just because I wanted it. I just like,
You can also order them online.
oh,
And
see,
just,
okay,
you know,
this
you
is
just
I
put it
know
on
for
yourself.
next time now because I need.
I think I
need.
actually have a roll of them.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, I had so much fun when I had stickers last time. But one of the things you brought up a good point, which is there are still 31 states that require you to show up to the polls to do it in person. And the only reason that's not awesome is because those same 31 states also have voter ID laws that are a little problematic for trans individuals. So it makes it harder for them to vote because they're not going to match their IDs a lot of times. Their name's different. They identify as a different gender. And so the beautiful people at the polls in some of these states can refuse. Now,
I can only imagine what it would be like to show up to vote and have to show an ID and identify as your dead name.
Yes, I know when
just
it's
to
so
vote to help
traumatizing
you
as it
keep
is.
rights that you're fighting for.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
Thank you. And to know that that's more than half the states in our United States are not united. Let's be very reasonable. Also, I'm only traumatized by a very small thing. My license makes me look like a serial killer, and so I don't want people to see that. So I would feel that,
Jonathan.
I look like a better coiffed serial killer in real life. Yes. No, I saw it. When you see the picture after they take it, and you're like, who the hell is that? Yeah, it's terrifying. Yeah. And
it does usually take about 4 or 5 shots for us to find one that Jonathan looks friendly.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
How many times have you two over there, Kurt and Tom, said, we're going to have to try a different angle? I'm like, fuck you. I mean, sure, that's fine. No, but these are the traumatizing things. And to see, one of the things I think is important is you don't have to run for office. You don't have to be on a microphone. That's not everybody's personality. But I still believe in take part in the democracy of the country that you live in. At least find a way to take part. You don't have to march in a march, but at the very least, do your civic duty. And I think we forgot that for a long time. And I think we need to get back to that. Especially one of the things we're talking about today as well is there were more LGBTQ candidates than we've ever had in this country. There were over 700 running for different offices across this country. And one of the things they say is it was probably because we've been attacked a whole hell of a lot.
If no one's going to do it, then I'm going to do it.
Thank you. If not someone else, it has to be me.
I mean, I think what kind of pushed people was there's a good amount of the gay community that was like, oh, abortions are, that's under risk. And then as soon as the judge got done with that and said, maybe the gay rights, thing too.
And
the people were like, oh, this is going to affect me. Oh, I better vote.
And let's be honest,
stated it that it needed to be revisited.
Yeah, he didn't say maybe. Clarence said it's on the docket. I'm going to go after these people, and I think you're right. It's scared, and it should.
Yes.
And if we're not being represented in politics, how can we make sure that we're safeguarded? We can't.
I wouldn't put it past him to reverse segregation too. I mean, he's just going after every.
He's in a biracial marriage. So,
yeah, he is. And yet, I feel like
although his wife's probably like, no, please make it illegal. I don't want to be married to you anymore.
Oh, I wish she was like that.
Yeah, I know she's not.
Sadly, she's not.
That's a whole can of worms there. That's
exactly.
A mess. Yeah.
But these are the things. This is what's important. So, have you guys been approached? Because I feel like every heterosexual person in the world now comes up to a gay person and said, "Are you going to run for office?"
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm like, you don't want me to do that. And secondly, use your platforms. Whatever your platform is in your life. I'm going to be the loud cheerleader. That's my role that I enjoy. And then I'm going to hopefully cheer on, the Zach Sapones of the world. And, the people that are doing good work, that are representing all people. But it is important for those of you out there that are politically minded in that leadership way, get out and be seen. Mm-hmm. We need more.
I think that if a hetero person asked me to run, like you don't know me, because the gay community is like, no, he can't run. That is not a thing that can happen.
Listen, we have a list that we keep at the clubhouse. So
I had to keep my mouth shut on a bunch of things when I was working with Zach on his campaign, just because. And I wasn't working. I was just, did a couple events and fundraising. Yeah. And I'm like, I got in an argument with another local politician that runs a local coffee shop a few years ago.
Wonder who that was.
I don't know. It came out okay. The only consequences that he called the CEO of my credit union and asked me to be fired because I posted his voting record on Facebook.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's grassroots at its best.
The anniversary of that came up during this the working with Zach's campaign, and an old person that worked at that organization with me sent me a bunch of receipts. And I'm like, I don't work with that organization anymore. Yeah. I'm going to blow this up. And I was like, nope, I do not want that to be associated with Zach's campaign.
Yeah,
and have that be a thing.
That's a good political mind, though, because
Right.
you have to look at all the angles. I mean,
But
it's
if it was
weird,
me
but you
running,
have
that
to.
would have been brought up like crazy.
Oh yeah. Oh please. I was just saying earlier. Like from when the old days on the radio show, I would tell people all the time, if you want to find shit on me, you'll find it. And so I'm just gonna play the Madonna card and say, hey, it's on you if you see something, or I don't care, because it's the only way to be a loudmouth and be okay is to just be like, hey, I'm just gonna beat you to the punch, and so I don't care, especially now. That was pre-cancel culture.
Yeah.
And so now they really go after you. So would you run for office, Ian?
No, but mostly because I don't want to play the game. I want to be in the trenches, holding all the politicians accountable.
Yeah.
Even the ones I support and the ones that share like voting.
Right.
That would vote the same way I would
The
want
number
them
of
to.
conversations we're
But-
gonna have off the record when Blaine runs,
It's,
because I'll be like,
He's not running.
you'll be like,
For
Dana's
those
like, I
who-
can't talk to you about what I fixed, Ian, because you're gonna want to hold someone accountable.
So for those
mean-
listening, do follow, check out Facebook, everything Blaine Stum. He's amazing. He is actually amazing. So smart. He's so smart.
I love it.
Oh, and we need policy people.
I love when
like
he
that.
destroys people. It's I think that one of the funny, it was the Credible Hulk, like the meme of that.
Incredible Hulk. Yes.
Blaine is the Credible Hulk.
Yes. Agreed.
I smash things with knowledge and information and research.
well, and he's doing it on his couch with his cat in his lap.
With his
That's true.
cat.
Oh, baby.
Yes.
I got a photo of Baby before the show.
I
the
love
recording
Baby.
started. So.
I love it. So people do check out. Like, this is what I've tried to say for years is I believe
Is that the gay agenda?
the cat.
Blaine's able to work and write policy from home with his cat in his lap?
Yes, I think it is.
I think maybe it
And
is.
maybe mimosas.
Should we ask Pete Buttigieg how he does
Maybe.
it?
I don't know.
Maybe.
It's one of the gay agenda. Yeah, I want my cat on my lap. Well, I write policy to
know.
protect rights.
Exactly.
Pete doesn't strike me as a cat guy.
Who, Pete or
Pete
No.
doesn't strike me as a
Pete?
cat guy.
No,
No.
Well, now he's got 2 babies. He don't got time for a cat.
Oh, please, they have to have a nanny.
They have an au pair, I'm sure.
Oh, let's
yeah.
listen. Yes, they
It's-
have to.
you like
But I'm just saying.
And that's not a judgment thing. Like that man travels far too much.
I think Chasten's
Yeah.
kind of like I think he's a golden retriever kind of guy.
I could see that.
Like he'd like
he himself or the dog.
Both.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
And
Very
then Mayor
loyal,
Pete's
very
the
loyal.
as long as the dog sits and stays and is good for photo ops, then I'm good.
I mean, there you go. So, as I was saying, it's important to find the people in your grassroots area, in your immediate community, that you need to rally behind and support, because those are the people that go up, and you don't know in 20 years if they're going to run for president. You don't know if they're going to decide to go from city council and then they want to be a senator.
School boards.
Find school.
That's a huge one.
So important right now, because so much of the queer community is being attacked through our schools. Because if they can erase us at the youngest level, then they hope that'll. Now we all know in this room it's not going to, but it could screw up a lot of children.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you don't make someone not queer because you didn't mention the word gay in the classroom. That doesn't make someone not gay. I didn't turn gay because someone mentioned. I thought that could be cool.
I knew I was gay when I understood what gay was.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
kids feel
when
like
you
they're
could
different,
identify.
and then as soon as gay became more mainstream, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's me. And then as that moves on, it's like, actually, I'm way more pan than gay. These things, as they
We
become things,
evolve.
I identify with it better.
Into who we are meant to be. I knew I was gay when I was 6 years old. This is so weird. 6 years old, I was at my best friend's house with my sisters, and we had just gone swimming, and his name was Danny. Hi, Danny. And we were changing, and I remember whispering to my sister, he's got a cute rear end. I didn't know that meant anything. I just thought he had a cute rear end. I had never heard about gay, but I knew something was wrong because they freaked out.
Wrong. You said wrong, though. You
Yeah.
knew something was wrong.
I knew something in my family was
Uh-huh.
wrong. It wasn't wrong.
And there's kids out there in those families still. Yes,
Exactly.
my family is,
Exactly.
I mean, they're hit and miss still sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
But, I was so lucky. And for every time that you have someone like me, my mom asking why it was important to have marriage. And I said, because,
Right.
yes, you support me, but there's families that don't.
that
Right.
don't. Exactly.
And they're still out there
yes,
in
exactly.
Florida.
There's a lot of them in Florida. Hey, thank you to the good people out there who aren't like this, but there's a lot. Obviously, with the election, there was a lot.
Well,
that
speaking
were.
of don't say gay, I came out as gay before I thought it was a bad word, so when I told my parents, I just said, I don't like girls, I like
Right.
guys. Yeah, so I was afraid to say the word for even months after I came out.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I did the same thing in my house. I wouldn't, when I came out to my best friend, never said the word at all. I couldn't say, and because I'm a drama queen, it took 4 hours, and she kept trying to guess what was wrong because I was just so emotional. And of course, after 4 hours, we were both exhausted, fell on the floor, and I finally said the word, whispered, "I'm gay." And that was the first, because especially in religious households or people that hold those things, you're taught what a horrible thing this was. So this again is why it's so important for those who want to be loud. Find the way to be a voice. I don't care how you do it. I don't care if it's being elected. I don't care if it's having your own show. Just don't compete with ours. Do something.
Just get invited on it a few times.
I mean, that's the smart way. And people, I think, recognizing that shows like this across the board are needed. We need more of them because, listen, we saw what happened. Every state is trying to attack. Idaho is right next door and doing absolutely horrendous things. Texas, let's not even talk about Texas. And Florida is still apparently part of the U.S. So we have to be careful. And what's even scarier is the chanting that went on at the DeSantis celebration when he won. 2 more years.
2 more years.
Yeah. So we know it's 4 years if you're governor. Well, they want him to run in 2024. We do not want him. This is the scary part about that. Trump was a horrible thing to live through. Trump, who has a vindictive little brain, worse. Let's not put that in, the Oval Office, please. We've already been it. Do I think Biden's the one that's going to beat him? They are so split out there. I personally don't, but I heard a whole NPR story about how, yes, he's the only one that can. Really?
There's an SNL sketch from a couple weeks ago. It was a horror trailer. Yeah. And it was, Biden's going to run. And no. Right? And then well, Biden doesn't run. Who is? Oh, and someone's like, Mayor Pete, they get slapped. Are you kidding? Yeah. It's no, he polls well, but can he beat DeSantis?
That's the thing. Why would all of the horrible press we give our current president, why would we think that would beat DeSantis?
Well, and then the big thing they were joking about with Biden not being able to win, he did a lot of good things, the debt forgiveness, but he fell off his bike.
See, this is what kills me. This is the horrible part.
To be fair, yes. he took it like a champ, to be fair.
Right?
Yeah, he got right back up. He was good. Yeah, I was impressed.
Yeah. He fell off his bike. Trump said he could shoot a guy in the middle of Times Square and not lose a vote.
And no one everybody's like, huh?
That's cool.
And then, those tapes from it's bad.
Oh, my God.
But
it is bad.
That's what we're up against on this side, is we have to hold Al Franken got screwed over, right?
Oh, my
because
God.
we have to hold people to the same accountability.
Yeah. And we don't now.
And I shouldn't say screwed over because there was inappropriateness, yes. But come on now. Yeah. We have to hold everyone to a higher bar. Exactly. And that's what sucks about this party is that we're not going to find that unicorn.
No, and we need an equal bar. We need a bar and honestly, a bar that made logical sense that we would look at someone like Trump and be like, oh, get that guy out. We don't have, and yet it doesn't. We're going to support him in the red side, and then we're going to take Joe down on the big story when he was almost tripped and fell off the stage. Okay, can I tell you, I know a bunch of musicians who have also done the same thing. Yeah. And we're just like,
I saw Dave Grohl in concert after he broke his leg.
Yeah, yeah. So this is what's interesting to me is this is the power of the disgustingness of media at times. We can take someone down. It's like when people are at work, there's that whole concept of witch hunting or poisoning the water. If you don't like someone at your work, you just start talking bad about them around the water cooler. And all of a sudden they get this reputation that if you know that person and you know that's not true, it's almost impossible to convince other people that, what are you talking about? They are not that bad of a person. But because you can start doing, and that's what media does.
Also, you said not that bad of a person, right? But it's a good person.
Exactly.
Well, no, we're not that bad.
Yeah.
No, that's a good person.
It just feeds into it.
And the number of accomplishments that the administration has currently had are overcast.
So many.
He almost tripped. He said the wrong year.
Yeah.
He said, the dude's
trouble getting
old.
up the stairs.
But also, didn't he have a horrible stutter growing up that he overcame?
He did,
and that's the big thing that people forget about.
Well, people blame that on his age now.
Now they do, and he's going to turn 80, so they're like, oh, how can he even be there? Listen, we've had old presidents before. This is not new.
To be fair, it is amazing that someone literally half his age is still qualified to be president. You know,
I know.
And you would think that I mean, it's hard to get the old people out because they cling on to life until they're 99 years old. But
112 here, bitch. 112.
Why don't those people have to show up at the poll and show ID?
Exactly.
You don't get a vote from your life
they made of stone.
support
Exactly. Yeah.
just so you can say no gay.
No.
It is just disappointing we don't yet have enough credible potential candidates on the Democratic side for president right now. It's the oldest guy that's ever been president is going to be, setting the record every year he's in office.
Because party leaders are not making room for younger
Look how
generations.
They're not.
But look how quickly Obama came up.
Yes.
He gave a keynote speech.
Speaking of unicorns.
I mean,
yeah.
I'm just saying, he gave the keynote speech at the Democratic National Convention.
Yep.
And then he was instantly dubbed a rising star.
Yeah.
And then he ran.
It
and
was
he took out
just-
Hillary.
Yeah.
Like, that
Yeah.
was a huge
Well,
thing.
he kind of had it was a
first-term
just
senator.
a perfect opportunity, and not everybody's handed that. Usually you have an uphill battle. He sort of had the wind behind his back as he was.
I
he
mean,
was heading
just like
for
you
it.
said, it's so unique. It is a unicorn. That's exactly
Yeah.
what it is.
Well, it's-
But I will say, where was it and who was it? I don't remember. That's how good I am.
Obama?
We'll see if Daniel can look it up for us. The youngest person elected to Senate.
Florida.
Was it?
Congress?
Oh, Congress. Yeah.
First Gen Z congressperson.
That's a beautiful thing. Like, listen, I'm not saying that we now need to skew the other way, but I'm saying we need to make room
Yeah.
for younger
Well, it's like AOC,
opinions.
AOC won, like, the squad. Didn't they all, like, landslide?
Oh, I heard about this. Yeah, I
the
read
whole
that.
squad.
This,
and everyone's like,
afternoon.
they're not going to make it anymore.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
did.
I think that's amazing. And we need all voices. And so and here's the thing I've said a million times that I have against no term limits is it leaves no room for new blood and new people and everybody to be represented because you're still there. It's the hardest thing I have because of course I love these people, but it is a legitimate fight if you're doing it on a fair opinion between Patty Murray and Kathy McMorris Rogers.
I don't understand
They both
why are they not
move aside.
handpicking their successors at this point? Why doesn't Nancy Pelosi
Thank you.
pick someone
Yep.
and say, this is my successor?
Yeah.
They will win.
I mean,
That's just how it's going to
exactly. Yeah. That's the correct way to groom someone.
Yes.
Is what I want to say. So everybody can stop telling us gay men that we're doing that. But it's true.
Yeah.
I thought about that today. Why are we not trying to pass the torch? We're trying to hold on to the torch till it has to be just pulled from our cold dead hands.
Our Spokane representatives did it in Olympia.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know this.
Lisa Brown was no longer running for re-election. Andy ran for her seat and is now majority leader. Is that the
Yeah,
correct
he's a
phrase?
Senate majority leader.
Thank you.
And then the downside was that there wasn't a picked person initially to take over Andy's seat, because then there was a little bit of a battle between Marcus Riccelli and
Yeah.
and
There was a picked
Nancy.
person depending who you talk to.
Well, yes, there was a picked person, but Marcus came up through Maria's campaign. He
Yes.
was on Maria Cantwell, and then John is they were
Which
both
is fascinating
great
to
candidates.
me. Yeah.
I miss you, John Snyder.
But
also, I love
Oh.
Marcus. I love Marcus to death.
I do. Yeah, he's.
I shouldn't say sorry, Marcus. I love you. You're doing a
Old
good
friend
job.
of the show. I enjoy Marcus too. He used to come in after playing basketball, which I always felt weird on my show. I'm like, sports? What are you doing? But he was a
come
great
after
guy.
he would come into like the bar after his kids' soccer games.
Yeah, yeah. And he was, of course, notoriously, because he told some stories on our show, but his roommate during when he would have to live over there in Olympia was Brady Walkinshaw. And they had quite some stories.
I can imagine.
Yeah, yeah. So it's good to, but these are the important things that I think we don't talk about enough. We're not having conversations about the people we need to rally, the people we need to cheer on. And let's be honest, being a politician is not easy. And so sometimes they need cheerleaders to be like, you got keep going. It's like running the marathon. You want to be there on the side every mile so that we can do them. Is that a subtle? I'm watching over here. People don't see it's off of camera, but Tom's pulling the clock. I'm like, is this the subtle hint? He's just gonna throw it at me.
What is happening to the clock right now, though? Look at this. Look at the minute.
Sorry,
hand.
it's an atomic clock, but it didn't set itself back an hour.
Oh.
So
No,
it has to go around the whole horde before it
I'm
fixes
like,
itself.
wow.
It's the
Time
hands.
flies
I
when you're having
know.
fun.
The hands are moving on their own. It's haunted.
I just had to fix a bunch of these atomic clocks where I work. There's a bunch of seniors where I work, and they all were very confused about
Not
what's happening.
seniors
so
in
I-
high school.
I had
Is
to-
it because
no.
they turned the clocks back 40 years on Tuesday?
Well, they were all like, "When's
Thank
breakfast? Am I
you.
early?"
Done. Yeah, I didn't even know this was an atomic clock. It just looks like a clock.
It does say atomic clock at
Does
the.
it? Except it's not 10 till 9 or 5 till 9. So, whatever. If it is, wow, we stayed past our welcome time. But we still have time left in the show.
We do. I'm going to ignore the clock. I'm sorry. That was my OCD acting up.
But when you look at politics, both of you coming from your walks of life, what do you think the most important thing is? You look at the U.S. today that you see that go, we need to watch this and I need to do this.
We need to change the whole voting system because we need to have the ranked voting. That's the only way to make the system better.
Speaking of which, there's going to be a big live podcast here where we do our show next Wednesday that is exactly about that.
And that's how you're going to start getting some of these younger and I mean the word independent is such a nasty word because and even in our current elections, independents caucus with the Democrats. Like that's just you know.
I was thinking that the other day because I always, all my life, have identified as independent because I want to be an independent thinker. And I was thinking when I was doing the ballot, I'm basically, for my own safety, Democrat. You know what I mean? But I call myself independent. But in the end, and I am here to say both parties have so many flaws.
Oh, absolutely. I
was listening to a lot of people saying we need to clear the whole thing and restart. And yes, we do. We are smart enough to know that is not going to happen, at least not overnight or over the next 10 years.
I will also clarify, yes, both parties have their flaws.
Yes.
But like them handpicking someone and helping the DNC, doing more fundraising is a little bit different than another party trying to take away rights for, a giant number of the population.
Giant.
So the flaws are, my candidate didn't get fair treatment versus, I don't have rights anymore.
Right. It is a small group of specific people, mostly older cis white men, who are making decisions for all of us, and that's a problem.
I want to say it's like I hear you on the pushing policy that would actually be detrimental, but also is it any better or worse than the Democrats who made a lot of promises when they controlled all three branches or both houses?
And then did nothing.
Promises about marriage protections. Promises about enshrining abortion access.
They had all these excuses.
It was
on
all
why.
performative because they knew they couldn't pass it. They were doing it to get their votes because look, we did it. We tried.
Yeah.
You controlled the House. That's your fault.
But but also I know that I believe that if it did come to a vote, then they're on my side. Which is, it doesn't
we hope.
mean anything at
I
this
think
point,
some of them
but
are sheep in,
But we
in
also
sheep's
had a
clothing.
couple, the Mavericks, as Sarah Palin would say.
Yeah,
the Joe whatever
The
from West Virginia,
Mavericks. Right.
That's
Manchin is not a
Manchin-
Democrat.
I
I don't know why they let him caucus.
well, that's
Right.
the whole thing is that
Well, and that's the thing. The other thing that gets me isn't it more? It seems more about people just wanting to win. It's not about. It's more about the Reds winning or the Blues winning, and it's not about. Shouldn't we be talking about the issues that are important?
We can't be that picky right now.
No,
I
we
think that's what
can't
people are
now.
saying.
But that's what I'm saying is the problem.
Yeah.
to say I'm not going to
when
vote
we've
for Patty
gotten-
Murray because she didn't get it. No, I can't afford to do that.
Let's be honest. Why did I vote for Joe Biden? Because listen, if it was, you have to vote for Joe because I'm not splitting my vote. That
We already did that once.
Yes,
And
exactly.
the number of people, if it's not Bernie, then the world's going to burn.
Yeah.
And a lot of those people came around real quick afterwards.
You have
but,
to.
But
You had-
still,
I was
it's-
Bernie all the
you
way,
Cannot,
but
we can't afford to do that.
you have to
And
be
that's
realistic.
the problem on this side of things is that we have to make those. Yes, I know that you didn't do this, but I'm not going to risk it.
And that's the thing. That's why I think you can't turn the Titanic around, overnight.
Well, that sank.
Yeah, it did. And that's
Weird.
the problem. Isn't that so weird?
I think it is important to recognize where we can't just blame the politicians. We fell short. People didn't vote when they should have.
Yep.
People were so confident
Right.
things were going that way that they didn't vote. And then we're kind of voting for people we knew couldn't win when we really were honest with ourselves. And that was a little too late to course correct once we saw the polls coming in and we saw how well Trump was doing. And, those people that voted for Bernie had voted for Hillary, could have had a different country, the last, 6 years, basically.
Exactly.
I mean, also, if Florida didn't exist, we'd have a different country back in 2000.
It would be so great. It would be so great.
But it is important to see where we fell short and to be real with with
Sorry to all
ourselves.
of our Florida listeners. We love you.
We do love you, Florida listeners, but I think they even feel it. You
Oh,
know what
yeah.
I mean? They feel a little lost in their own country, a man without a country, when they're over there. And I think also we need to remember that we need to make the big changes. We need to be idealists, but we need to understand that those don't change until we slowly move that Titanic. We slowly go over the next 10 years. Because how smart the Republicans have been playing a long game, like with Roe v. Wade, for 50 years. We get ADD in a year. So we need to understand, get on the same page, understand that, yes, we want this outcome, but to get there, we've got to make these
Baby steps.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Things don't happen overnight. What we hear is they did. Roe
Yeah,
v. Wade
yeah.
didn't happen overnight as a reversal.
No,
Those have been coming up to the courts for years, waiting until the Federalists could
Right.
put the...
Look at-
the hand-picked Supreme Court justices that were able to do this. And now we have affirmative action is back.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then, the gay marriage is going to be a thing that comes up because these are all
Well, look at
happening.
gerrymandering.
They're all happening in the smaller courts.
The
And they're
gerrymandering,
gonna all come
like
up.
100 years ago, was started by the Republican Party because they knew they were going to need to redistrict as time went on. They got so good at it while we weren't watching that now it doesn't. It's not the. I don't think it's the best representation of what we need.
To
What
be
it
fair-
is I want to win, so I'm going to move this border.
To be fair, Democrats do it just
No,
as much,
and
but
I'm
the
not
Republicans
saying-
are a little better
yeah,
at it.
Well, they are way better at it. And they started it, and then we were like, oh, let's get on that. And I'm like, it sucks, period. This is not an authentic representation.
Well, and the Senate system in general.
yeah.
Why
Yeah.
does California have 2 senators
Yeah.
and Rhode Island has 2 senators?
Right? You're like,
I mean, I
huh.
love Rhode Island. Like, thank
Yeah.
you. Let's
Thank
say-
you, Rhode Island, for listening.
Why does North Dakota have 2 senators? And it's not
Listen,
a representation.
There's
at
only
all.
12 people there. What are we What
I
are we
know.
doing? Now 2 of them are senators. Yeah.
Yeah.
These are the things we need to be very aware of those. We have to be aware of the
But
process.
we're also not going to overhaul the system overnight.
No, we
So by
can't.
not voting, you're not saying screw the system. You are just you're choosing to be
You're saying
apathetic and
screw
not
me.
doing
You're
it.
slowing
Yes.
down the progress.
You're
Yeah.
slowing down the progress, and
Yeah.
honestly, you're recognizing your privilege there.
Thank you. Exactly. I agree with all these things. And one of these days we'll have a non-political show, but it ain't today, bitch. So these are the important things we need to do. If you had a parting thought, what would your parting thought be to listeners about what we've been talking about?
If you didn't vote, then fuck off.
Yeah? Like, bye.
I don't want to hear you say anything about the shape of this country for the
If
next
you
2
didn't
years
bother to
if you
participate.
didn't cast a ballot.
Unless you have a damn good reason.
Yeah.
Like a damn good reason.
Maybe you died. If
If
you
you- if-
died, we'll give you a
If
pass.
you were restricted from voting because of a voter ID law,
right,
you get a
then
pass.
that's bullshit. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but in Washington State, where we get ballots that show up in our mail,
Yeah.
and if they don't, you can go and vote at
a
with
physical
plenty
location.
of time ahead of time.
Yeah.
In Washington State, if you didn't vote, you don't get to talk about this for the next 2 years to me, or
Exactly.
I'm going to have someone else slap you because I don't want to get in trouble for that.
Exactly. And I agree with that completely, because if you're not going to participate, you don't get to say. That's just not how it works.
And furthermore, saying that you're picking between like a crap sandwich and I don't care.
no.
You still need to
No.
vote.
It means you really don't understand what's happening in this
That's
country.
very true. And
Yeah.
that you have privilege that you don't recognize.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
there's that. So yeah,
Yes.
that's fuck you people that didn't vote in Washington.
I like that. That's a good party thought. I like this. Ian, what would you say?
I feel
You're
so
a little
much
more
nicer.
gentle.
I am. Because I was like, as he's sitting there like cursing up a storm, my parting thought was going to be that everything we're talking about today is not a every 4 years issue. It's not every 2 years. It's not once a year. It's every 365 days a year.
Exactly.
Is what we're talking about. Making sure that you are educated on what's going on, that you're holding people accountable who are currently in office,
Yep.
that you're watching their voting records, that you're aware of things like, do the listeners realize, or do people realize that like school boards are getting reworked, that county commissions like Spokane's County Commission went from 3 to 5
Right.
positions, and that's huge. And like
Yeah.
you need to be aware of what's happening even before those ballots arrive.
That's very true.
So-
And there are ways to do it, because I don't want to hear this excuse. But I hate talking about it because I just want to have a good time. Well, there's not going to be a country to have a good time in if you don't do something. Privilege. We should do a commercial where Corey just whispers privilege every few minutes. Privilege.
I think we could snip that out.
It'll be like, we'll do it, and it'll be like a new cologne ad for people
I
with.
love it.
See, done. We do great things here.
Also, I will happily have a beer with somebody and chat about politics, and I will
Thank
be
you.
decently gentle about it.
People don't like to have a beer with me and chat about politics because
that's
I'm not as gentle.
You know what you can do is could join that, and then what you do is you just walk behind every now and then you can say privilege.
I just watched Bros finally, and at the dinner scene,
Oh,
my husband
yes,
goes, "Oh my God, Corey, that's you," because he
Yes.
just wouldn't let it go.
Yeah.
They don't have, and he goes, "That is you."
And then he
I was
tries
like,
to be quiet, and he's
uh-huh.
like, "No, this is too important."
"That's me." So
Love
if you want to have
this.
beer with me, I'm not going to shut
You
up.
are Billy Eichner. You are Spokane's Billy Eichner. That is very true. So I will do the same thing. I like having discussions. I get This is what my brother likes to tell me. He always accuses me of, you don't have to scream. And I try to explain, I'm not screaming, I'm passionate. They're two different things.
Jonathan,
they're
it's so
not,
hard.
but
It's so hard to not.
I know, I get you. I'm like, I'm not mad at you. I just have a lot of feelings about
He's like,
about
I can
this.
hear the blood gargling in your throat while you yell at me.
Exactly. I'm like, I love you,
I'm
brother,
the mean girl.
but
The girl, the mean girl. I'm not here. I just have a lot of feelings.
yes, I need that T-shirt. That is my T-shirt. That is it. I like this very much.
But also, F you.
Yeah, exactly. And that's your T-shirt.
That's
Can
my
you do all the nice things, but also, except that you don't use initials. You just go right in.
I do. It took me a while. I think I didn't do this in the first couple because I think radio. We're a podcast.
We're a podcast.
I
We can
can
do
say
whatever.
fuck.
This reminds me of a story, though,
Right,
before we
again.
go. Yes. Fuck. This reminds me of a story that Tom told me on the way in that makes me laugh so much. This is probably offset, but it was so funny.
I don't remember what I told you.
It was about the lady who made the comment and then ended it with,
Oh.
yes. So this is how we're going to end everything. We always have a bad comment. Tell the story.
So, well, first, here's my parting message. It's set your clock back and get your pet spayed and neutered.
Yeah. Thank
So
you,
the
Bob
story
Barker.
is after the last podcast, I was leaving. I was actually going down to one of the gay bars to do a trivia night, and this lady was talking. I thought she was talking on the phone. She didn't have a phone. She was looking at me. She said, the wording was, you are a fucking liar in his good name, amen.
So let's call people out and then end it with "in his good name, amen," and that gets us right away with it,
I love it.
right?
I love it.
Fuck you, you asshole! In his good name, amen. Thank you for calling my place of work. And click. That'll get us away with everything. So that just made everybody who was offended by hearing this podcast.
In his blessed name, amen.
In his blessed name, amen. And by him, I mean Leslie Jordan. So, yes.
She's going to bring it down.
No, it's his blessed name.
Oh, well,
it's not down. It's beautiful.
I made Leslie Jordan was very much like Joan Rivers and loved that.
Oh,
Can I tell a horrible joke?
Oh, wow, yes.
It's really bad.
Bring it.
Because, Leslie Jordan died in a car accident. And all I could wonder is why wasn't he in a rear-facing child seat?
Leslie, we love you, but true.
Leslie would have loved that.
He would have
loved that.
absolutely loved that. Yes, I love it. So there you go. On that,
In his name.
on those two, in his name, amen. On those two beautiful notes, we wish you all an amazing post-election celebration, hopefully, because it went better where you are. It went pretty good where we are. Mm-hmm. And it went not as bad as it could have for the country, which we love, even though we'll probably still lose the House. But not as bad as we thought we would lose it. So I just want to thank everybody who always tunes in. I've been loving recently getting the emails about, apparently some people are just discovering and enjoying the show. So thank you all. Thank you both for coming on, Ian and Corey. This
Very
has been
excited.
fun. Yes. And for Cynthia, who is going to be listening to this, we love you. We want you to come back. We're sorry that it was a rough day. And I'm so glad Corey just is like, sure, I'll show it.
I got nothing, but
let me give you
want
an
me to
hour
talk loud?
notice.
Sure.
That's where it is. So remember, you can always catch the podcast every Tuesday on our website. That is at thequeercentric.com. And remember, check out our Patreon. Did I mention Patreon?
At least once.
I think that's good. Patreon. Privilege. So thank you all. And until next time, everybody. Bye.
Bye.